Okay, so I'm doing an update video. I've had my dreads since November 2016, so it's August right now, so it's been just under 2 years. There are a couple of them, two of them in the back that I started a year before I did my whole head. So these ones are actually 3 years old. That's why they do look a little bit different. They're more mature than some of the other ones. Some of the ones in the very front actually probably didn't dread up until just like 6 months ago, like these little bangs. And there's some back here. Where is it? There's a little piece. This one is actually just starting to dread. It was loose for the longest time, and probably just in the last month or two it started its own little new dread. I made these videos because I wanted to show what mixed or biracial hair of my texture and how thin my hair is, how it would end up with dreads. Because I was afraid that it was just kind of like my dreads would just look too thin and they wouldn't get full, or they'd shrink up really small. So when I was starting them 2 years ago, there was hardly any videos that were showing my texture of hair. It was either black hair and just like really kinky, or really thick hair. Like my boyfriend's hair is really thick and his dreads are just awesome, and I just was afraid that mine wasn't gonna look nice or how I wanted them. They are freeform. The only thing that I did was stop brushing my hair 2 years ago in November. And maintenance wise, I just shampoo, swim in the ocean, salt water, I guess maybe tightens them up a little bit too, maybe faster, I don't know. But just a lot of shampooing in the beginning is what made them kind of tighten up, but they really like separated on their own. Just my, you can kind of tell like where my individual kind of curls, they just link together, and every once in a while I separate them. I still separate them. It's not like a conscious thing. It's crazy. I didn't even think that it was going to end up working that way, but they really just dreaded on their own, and then I separate them if they seem like they're getting tied together a little bit. So I'm going to drop my hair down. I do have the undercut still. So I think they filled in really nicely. I do still have a couple extensions in here that I basically leave, and every once in a while, when they grow out, this is the extensions. When they grow out, I like pull them out and kind of slide them through the root again. And it hasn't done any noticeable damage to my hair, the dread. It just, the hole that's there from the temporary dread just kind of fills in. Like this is, you can tell where the black, darker ones are. This one is an extension. This is mine. This is mine. And most of them are mine now. I just have like six extensions in there still now, I think. But I've just kind of been slowly taking them out as I feel, and sometimes I'll put them in like if I'm going out or something, but really I don't need them anymore. They're getting long. That's why I decided to do another update video, because I was looking in the mirror yesterday, I'm like, okay, these are actually starting to get long, get some length, because my hair was probably about here when I started, and when the hair started dreading out for the first, for sure, 6 months, or about 6 month mark, they just really started shrinking, and they were like short, hard to get into a ponytail even. So that was scary, and I kind of didn't like that, which is why I did some of the extensions. But so that's it. You want to show yours?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my boyfriend's dreads for a comparison. So he's had his for about 3 years. Started like a year before mine with real short hair. And I just basically kind of started him off with some little twists, I guess. And we just let them go. So
They grew crazy. My hair wouldn't grow past like a 5-inch afro at first. So that's why I decided to dread it initially. And I went with the method of the twist first, just because I thought I needed dreads at first, but then we just let them go, and this happened.
He separates them sometimes, but some of them are like starting to
Congo,
yeah.
like these ones here.
There's some big ones in the back. I'm gonna turn around. But it just shows the difference in the texture of hair. So he's not mixed, and he's got really, there's some, can't really see back here, I don't know. But I wanted mine to look like his, and I was afraid that they wouldn't. And they don't. They're just really different. He's got much more hair per square inch, and he's got much more curl and texture to his, so they're just huge and full. Each individual one is just, they look good.
Yeah. That's about it.
And he does the same thing, no maintenance. Neither of us have ever had any like crocheting or we never go to a shop or anything.
Just wash.
Yep. Just shampooing, and I use aloe.
I'll use coconut oil in mine most of the time because they get really dry, especially here in Florida. It's constant sun, that's why they're dyed at the end.
Naturally by the sun.
Yeah, sun dry. So I have to use a lot of oil in it.
And I don't use any oil in mine really, sometimes my scalp, but mostly I just use some water in the front and a little bit of aloe like before I go to work, or if I'm going out and I want them to look a little bit less like frizzy in the front. But it's really pretty much it. So 2 really different types of hair, and how the dreads turned out with no maintenance and nothing extra.
Yeah, so there's no specific way to do dreads. I'm sure people know this already. It's just whatever your hair decides to do, especially if you're going with the freeform method. Whatever your hair does, that's just what it's going to look like. So I know I see a lot of people who have dread inspiration, or they'll go off somebody else's dreads, and it's just a totally different experience. And they usually end up cutting them because they don't come out the way that they want it. I'm fortunate because these came out really cool, and I like them. But
okay, sorry. Here's an example of 2 that are just kind of growing together, if you can see. And I would just separate them like this. And that's the most that you have to do. And then they're kind of free. Now if I left those, then they would end up in a Congo like a lot of his. But I'm not letting mine Congo because I want as many as I can, since I have so much less hair and it's so much thinner individual strands of hair, and then also thinner per square inch. And this just makes a huge difference. Oh, I know. One of his One of his dreads basically like, I mean, it really just kind of like slid out.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thinned at it was small to begin with, and then it kind of got thin right here, and it just like fell out one day. And since I'm always trying to get more dreads, I was able to kind of like knot it with a little hook, a little crochet hook, and then I was able to connect it to one of mine. So this is one of my shorties, and I just added his on starting right here, and so that's his. So whenever he loses some, I get them.
Sounds crazy and weird, but
okay, I think that's it.